Welcome to another episode of Untempered. I'm your host, Naila, and today I'm sitting down with BC Serna. He's not just a storyteller, he's a soul awakener. From Soul Pancake to Global Youth Mentorship, BC has spent his life helping people feel seen, heard, and he's inspired so many to live with purpose. He leads with heart, speaks with truth, and reminds us what it means to be fully human. I watched your TEDx talk, and I feel like it's one of those talks that just like everybody should watch, period. Not just men, even women, because I've been through my, journey with men, and I'm a single mom now and everything. And there's always kind of things that you start to lose empathy for because of the resentment that you hold, or you generalize what all men are like. And, we all fall in that trap. And I gotta say, I take full accountability to being that person as well. So when you described just thinking of the person as a broken little boy, and I see myself as that as well too, with all the inner child work. And it's like, hey, I also have a broken little child in me that I'm trying to heal. So why wouldn't I empathize with the other person that way? So I just wanted to take a moment and just say that really touched me. It was an amazing, amazing talk. Well done.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was a big stretch for me, and that was really powerful. It was like a women's conference in Switzerland too, so I was the only male speaker, and yeah, it was wild.
That makes it even better. Like, wow, that takes proper balls.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a long journey, and the podcast already started. We're jumped into it.
Yeah, we're just gonna record and talk, and yeah.
I love this. Okay, this is great.
So much better. I don't want to like make you feel like it's an interview, but I do feel connected to you because of that, because of stalking your Instagram and your partner and your kids, and I feel like your mission is beautiful. But I'm gonna give you this stage to tell me, what is your mission and what sparked the beginning of this whole journey for you, everything you're doing right now?
Wow, that's a beautiful question. The mission has evolved over time, but every time I ask myself what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, it always points to my pain of my life. So the hardest parts of my life, I've just always looked at why they were hard and what was hard about them. And if I could go help alleviate that pain from other people's lives, then I can almost help that version of me that wish I had certain aspects. And so I've always just looked at, all right, I just kind of always ask myself, like when I was in my early 20s, I said, what was the hardest part of my life? And it was high school. I just was bullied. I never fit in. I only thought I would have to be smart at school or good at sports, and I wasn't good at either of those things. And so high school was extremely difficult and lonely. So then I went and mentored high school kids. Back in the day, in my early 20s, I would Google purpose and inspiration on YouTube, and nothing came up. And I was like, well, this is weird. And so I started creating content that would come up on YouTube that was around inspiration and purpose. And so I always just looked at what I wish existed and tried to create it or become who I wish I had in my life. But it always pointed to the darkness of my life. It always pointed to the pain. And so that's kind of what has fueled me since day one, I guess.
Amazing. Yes. It's so crazy how it's weird how much we resent our pain and we always wish it wasn't there. But then it's actually the soul thing that births this version of us that's like, hey, I need a purpose. Hey, I need to be a better version of myself. And I think I can relate to that. Like, my pain has also made me look for purpose. And you kind of like walk around with your like a chicken with its head cut off, and you just kind of do life. And then you realize, wait a minute, this is driving me, and this factor that's driving me is driving me to not be at all what I can be. So let's talk about men.
Amen. Let's go.
How can men be like you? No, I'm gonna ask. So it's crazy how there's more confusion now more than ever on just what it is to be a man, like just the role of being a man. And even I feel like I had been in my masculine in my marriage for so long that even I forgot what it is. And like the role just has like, men are getting mixed signals. Tell me what your perspective is on this, and why do you think that is?
Oh yeah, this is a big question. Yeah, this is the biggest question in the world, right? Where men are, I think I talked about in my TED talk, we're given a compass on what masculinity is, and we follow this compass, and it's pointing us towards very external success and hoping that'll calm this little boy that's just hurting within. And So we're looking at certain figures of the world being like, is it the wrestlers? Is it the Andrew Tates? Is it the successful money masculine men? And it's confusing. It's like hopeless some days. But the thing that women have is they have the emotional awareness to share their feelings with their sisters. And it's like safe spaces almost. Even if it's messy, even if it's about a breakup or someone they're falling in love with, there's a okay green card in the emotions of women. And men have been taking that card away from themselves. They don't feel safe in their emotions. They don't feel safe in their truth. And somewhere along the way, they were honest about something or they were emotional about something, and there was like, yo, there's no space for that. Suck it up and bury that down. And so men are on a renaissance of being like, okay, it has to change within me, and it's usually the darkest room that we're afraid to enter, which is our emotions, which is the vulnerability of being honest. And so, this is the mass awakening that we're going through, and women are setting the tone for us. A lot of where men, something I believe and something I've always said is men evolved to where women put the bar. And so at one point, women were like, yo, we like money, muscles, and success. And like, well, that's where the bar is. And so men were like, okay, well, we'll get whatever that is. Because men, at the end of the day, they don't want the muscles, the money, or the success. They want the queen. They want the woman to make them feel nourished and nurtured. They want to be held in a safe space by the feminine. That's like what they're working all of it for. Like that's everything they're working towards is the end goal. And so now women are elevating the bar. They're getting their own success. They're getting their own money. So they're like, hey, we don't need that as much from you men. We just want emotional stability as well and emotional regulation. And so that's the journey men are on. And they're learning this through this dance that they're evolving through right now.
Yeah, I think also I realized like social media is not just, there is of course like the curiosity around modern masculinity, but I feel like there's also there's this like culture of criticizing men as well. And I'm probably one of, I don't want to say criticizing men, but I got to say like there's so many patterns, and then we just talk about why men are fucking up. And I think we need to talk about how we can help them feel safe to be able to connect with other men and to be able to actually deal with their emotions. You actually spoke about brotherhood, and I was like, interesting, because all my ex-boyfriends didn't have like good friends. Like their friends were like, yeah, bro, whatever, watch sports and everything. And I'm like, I actually asked one of my exes, I was like, what do you guys talk about? Like, what do you mean? His answer was, what do you mean? And I was like, if someone told me, what do you talk about with your girlfriends? I would be like, sit down. We got to talk, like grab a glass of wine. We talk about everything. And so when you talked about brotherhood, and then you also talked about male intimacy, I was like, I've never heard this before. So can you walk me through that? What is male intimacy? Like, what does that look like? And why are men terrified of it? What does that feel like for them?
So the reason men love sports is because they crave connection. Like they just want to talk to men about something. And sports is the lowest hanging fruit. Sometimes it's about weather. Sometimes it's about, certain simple things. But they study sports because they just want to talk to other men. And that is the easiest barrier of entry for connection. Below that, sooner or later, when that kind of vanilla conversation gets a little, stagnant, they hopefully build in deeper levels of talking about their relationships, their emotions, their struggles, their depth. So they're all waiting for it. Every single man is waiting to be like, hey, how are you really doing? And they cannot wait. Yeah, they're all waiting for it.
And they don't know it.
They don't know it. Yeah, but they crave it. Like, hey, man, what was your relationship with your dad like? What was the relationship with your mom like? What was the hardest thing you ever had to get through? And they'll go there, with you as long as it's created in, as long as it's someone asks the first question. And so they're all, I don't want to say they're all waiting to cry, but there's a level of them that like below the anger is sadness, and below that sadness is love. And so all of it is just peeling back these layers, which men make the layers much harder to peel back.
Right. And it's like the anger part too. Sorry to cut you off, but I just like flashbacks of, I feel like that's the most common emotion I feel around men. And it's like, it just goes to anger, it's like the first thing. And it's like, what is really, anger always has a, like an underlying emotion. It's most of the time it's sadness or even shame or guilt. and they just resort to anger. And it's like there's somehow along the way, the safety of being able to be sad has just been taken away from them, or just not been available, which is, heartbreaking, really.
Yeah, they don't know what's going on. Same with a toddler or a kid. And so they resort to this outburst of anger. But if they can start to ask, they just were never taught. They were never created safe spaces for it. Their dads taught them, So anger's sacred. It's a beautiful, check engine light where it's like, oh, cool, the anger's there. Let's go below the engine. Oh, there's sadness there. Let's go below that sadness. Oh, there's grief or loss or sorrow.
Do you relate to that person I'm kind of telling you about, like that the average man who's just going to anger, is not really in connection with himself and has not really spent time to have much introspection? Was that you at one point?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
When did that shift? What was that moment? Do you remember a moment when that kind of changed?
I think, it's such a good question. Yeah. Multiple times throughout my life, it's shifted. When I started being like, someone asked me the other day, like, BC, how did you become, a heart-led leader? How did you become like someone that I mentor? How did you become so good at it? It's like, because I failed at it more than anyone else. Like I would show up to my team or relationships where I did not like how I showed up. And for me, I would reevaluate it and take it very personal and really start to peel back those layers of how can I do better next time? And so because I failed at it, and then and men fail, they lose their shit, they lose their anger, but maybe they just don't reevaluate it of like seeing it as a problem or seeing it as a check engine light. And for me, yeah, I guess I just continue to try to get better. I would always just check myself and just being like, yeah, is this how I want to show up? Is this how I want to be remembered? Is this how I want to, can I do better, I guess, in some sense?
Beautiful. I want to go on one of your retreats.
Oh my gosh.
That's like my dream now.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I'm like, oh my God, I would love to be there. And I was reading this stat and it blew my mind. And it was like, I wrote it down. It's like 2023, approximately 47% of the US population, equating to just 117 million people, are single. Okay. And that blew my mind. And I think it's at a historical, peak. This is crazy numbers. So in the work that you do in your retreats, let's say some of these people come to your retreat. What do you think would be their like common misconception? We're going to jump to love right now. I want to get your idea on this because I saw your story with your partner and how you just tear up when you talk about her. And I'm like, I want to love like this. So these people come to your retreat, let's say, and what do you think their common misconception is about love that's keeping them in that bracket? From your perspective, like just your opinion.
Oh my God, that's such a good question. So romantic love, you mean?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, well, it's a dance. So something I talk about a lot is the trinity of our human experience, that we do have triggers, we do have traumas, we do have a human experience that we're having. We do have our own bias on what we believe is true. And then we have a spiritual experience. And I feel like the spiritual side is probably the most important side. Even though I'm not that like super religious, God is like a huge component of my life and try to what I ordain my life around. And there's a certain death that we need to go through egoically to like kind of be able to surrender and submit to the death that we go through in a relationship. There's a part of us that has to die that is very stubborn and very prideful, and we're just afraid of what that sacrifice might look. And especially if the sacrifice isn't met with the other person, like they're also not ready to like submit to that level of humility. It's really hard. It's really hard.
That's such a good answer, because it's so out of the box. No one would think, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that say, oh, I think it's this, but ego death, my God, it's so true, because I feel like all we do in a relationship is try to one-up each other sometimes, and we have to have the last word. And I read and it was in the Gottman theory. It's like, if you get to that point where you have content and you are wanting to have the last word, and I'm guilty of it, and it really does it becomes the beginning to the end. And
Yeah.
if you want to win, if you want to be right, and if you want to always have your way, it just starts to become, it's not a partnership anymore. It becomes like a constant push and pull. There's always resentment in that junk box, like you did that last month and you did that 2 months ago. And it's exhausting. And then it makes people kind of give up because they just equate love to like that draining energy of, I'm going to keep feeling like I lose. So looking into, if you're okay talking a little bit about personal stuff, looking into your relationship, guide me on what healthy looks like. And I'm not saying, obviously, because I don't know you very well, and I'm sure nothing is perfect and everybody has their ups and downs, but guide me on what BC sees healthy looks like with his partner.
Oh yeah. I think this is probably you probably know this, but it has a lot to do with purpose. Like there needs to be a purpose of the union, right? And so like almost like something bigger than ourselves, because a lot of the times when we are getting into relationships, it's how is this person going to serve me? How is it about me? Which is like, that's natural because we're looking for someone to, we're I don't know. Yeah, it's very self-centered in some sense. And when we look into a relationship, I think with Issa and I, it was like I am such a fan of her. Like I respect her and I look up to her and like I'm like a fan where like it's almost easy to submit to her. It's almost easy to like do the dishes or clean or whatever it is. I'm just like, she makes people better and I just get an honor to help her in like that essence of what she does, and I think it's vice versa probably for us, but it's like that selflessness of, could you see yourself giving that person a foot massage the rest of your life, every night for the rest of your life? Could you see yourself massaging that person's feet? And some people, there's a little bit of pride, a little bit of ego, a little bit of stubbornness of like, no, my partner is annoying as hell, which is the humor's there. But I think the question comes down to like, do you admire that person? And sometimes we are afraid to admire the person we love because we don't want them to get too, boastful of like, I don't know. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
It makes sense completely. I love when you said that she makes it easy for you to submit to her. You don't feel like she's trying to take anything from you and you're not trying to get anything out of it. You guys are in it together equally. That's so beautiful. I mean, I'm jealous of your kids.
I think that was our superpower is just, just the purpose is bigger. Like her, Lebanon, she raised like $30,000 when the explosion happened and she went to Lebanon, raised like, she did like for her birthday whenever the explosion happened, 2020, I believe. She like raised $30,000 for her birthday, went over there, helped tons of people. And like, it's just that we have this purpose driving us, and it just makes all of the human 3D matrix experiences we have a little bit less, like we don't take it as serious,
I love that though, like a conjoined life of purpose. You've mentored a lot of people and I saw again, the pursuing purpose life, and you've had thousands of people follow you and you have a big impact globally on a big community. So now you have to tell us about the bad days. Tell us, like romantically again, what are some of the most unspoken of struggles that you guys deal with as well? And how is it affected by the outside world?
Oh my God. So bad days on pursuing purpose or the relationship?
The relationship. And then we're going to talk about pursuing purpose as well.
Wow. Such a good question. That's such a good question. I guess I would bring it back to God in some sense of just like deeply praying and trying to alchemize whatever we're swimming through with prayer and just gratitude. She comes from Lebanon, right? So her sister died in one of the wars. I've worked a lot with developing countries. And so when you're vibrating at a frequency of gratitude, then naturally like we're blessed. And so we're just kind of always being like, even through the hardest times, we have this ability to get our head above water and to like acclimate to like, there's some crazy other shit happening in the world. And so we're fortunate. I'm trying to think of some other good examples of, raising kids is the hardest thing in the entire world. It's the portal of children, and I said this in one of my Instagram reels, but the goal, I guess, like bring it back, the goal of a relationship romantically is to dissolve the ego, dissolve the character that we've built. And because when you're changing poopy diapers at 3 a.m. all over and over and over, you're going to get into arguments with your partner because your lack of sleep, and it's just crazy. And so, yeah, it's the hardest thing in the entire world. And I don't know. Yeah, it's a great question.
I can't wait to meet Issa, by the way, and the kids.
Oh my God, I can't wait for you guys to meet. I know.
Where are you guys? Are you in Austin?
We're in LA for 10 years. We're in North Carolina now, just above Florida. And so we randomly ended up out in North Carolina.
What's that like?
It's nice. It's like slow pace. Like we met a community of people out here, and we just kind of were like, oh, let's do life out here for a little bit. So we're kind of just taking it one day at a time, with the little one. You have a 5-year-old?
I have a 4-year-old. Yeah, 4-year-old daughter.
4-year-old.
Yeah.
Or when's her birthday?
She's 4. She's born beginning of January, first week of January 7th.
Oh my gosh. And her name's
Callie.
Callie. Oh, that's right. Callie.
Yeah, her full name is California, but we call her Callie. But yeah, I was really, really homesick when I had her. Like I had her in Manchester and I had moved over there for my other half. And I used to call him my other half. I still call him my other half, even though we're not together. It's so funny that just came up. But yeah, I like picked up, left LA. To be honest, not just left LA for him. LA was getting intense for me. Like it was the beginning of, I don't know. It was the beginning of my healing journey because I hit rock bottom. Like LA fucked me up.
What year was this?
This was like
pre-Cali?
Way pre-Cali. Like 8 years ago, it was just like all my friends were like hooked on Adderall. Everybody was just, cracked out in a way. Nobody was internalized. Everybody was just kind of...
How old were you then?
I was 25 or 26. I'm 34 now. So this is a long time ago. And I was like...
Wow, you're still really young. You had Cali at 30.
I had Cali at 30, yeah.
Wow.
And the best thing that's ever happened to me. And of course, everybody says that about their kid, but genuinely, because for me, I was like borderline suicidal because I lost my family when I was younger, to give you a little bit of background. I lost my dad when I was younger. I was like, I don't remember how old I was. There's like a big block, but he was really violent. And basically my mom took me away. We were in Saudi Arabia. She like hauled me to Alain, which is like a little rural part of UAE. Then I was basically kicked out. My mom was like, I can't take care of you anymore. See ya. I talked about it in my TED Talk. And so I started life literally at just 16 by myself. Went to America for the first time. I had the passport because my dad was American. And so I basically was just doing life like this. I was a waitress. I was trying to, dropped out of high school. I was just trying to literally survive. The problem with that is I went in hardcore on working hard and started modeling and started working for the supplement company, opened my own business, started making money for the first time. It's like, money? What? And went full into West Hollywood scene, influencing in the beginning too, where I was like making a ton of money. And it just kind of like went into like, oh, why was I going after this identity? Who the hell am I? And then I realized I've been in survival mode literally my entire life. Like I was just trying to survive all the time, even though I didn't need to anymore. And then looked around, flash forward, looked around at the people that were surrounding me. And I'm not demonizing LA, but I just saw the people around me and I was like, who are these people? Like it was literally...
Oh yeah, same.
I was just like, none of these people would give a shit if I died tomorrow, like they just would not care at all. And they wouldn't pick up the phone unless they needed something. And at that point, I hadn't really experienced anything other than LA. So I just had this belief that this is the world. So I became a pessimist. I was like, the world sucks. Everybody is, I had trust issues. And of course, you can see naturally where that would bring me if I entered a relationship from that standpoint.
Yeah.
Like when you said in your reels, love ends the way it because of the way it started. It's so true. And the foundation of starting love from that was not good. But yeah, LA sucked my life out of me. So I was ready to get up and go. I probably shouldn't have jumped into a relationship I have so much respect for him, love him so much. He's my, still going to be my best friend. But yeah. I was in Manchester for a while, and then I was like, yeah, I miss California. I just don't miss LA. So maybe packing up whenever, that's escapism too, right? When you're like, I don't like this, let me just take everything. I didn't really think about it. But yeah, that's the long story of LA for me.
Yeah, I mean, that was like your Saturn return era too, and you just kind of go. When's your birthday?
February 25th. I'm a Pisces.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you were kind of right on time with everything of how that awakening happened and unfolded. And yeah, you're in the thick of it, especially becoming a mom during that awakening. And now you're doing it. You're embodying it all. It's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. There's so much work to do. And I think it's so important to just actually finally use my voice for something, because having followers, modeling, and even skydiving, it's all, it's still more like, hey, this looks cool, but like people don't know who I am. And I don't really want to just look cool. I got to that point in my life and I'm like, I have more to offer. If it was all I have to offer, then fine. I'll just keep doing jumps until I can't do jumps.
Well, it's a dance. It's you're pulling in the waves of passion and excitement and sexiness and coolness. And now you're infusing it with depth and deep conversations and direction. And so I think it's just going to give a lot of people hope that you can do it all and be it all and learn and fail and fall along the way. But I think the fact that you are relentlessly putting yourself out there in a way that is, just courageous. Like, you're just taking leaps of faith and figuring out. And I think it's going to give a lot of parents hope. The way you're approaching everything you're doing, I think it's going to instill that when you're a parent, you could still pursue and chase and create and dream. And that is so important, because anyone who's not doing that, they're putting all of their purpose onto their children. And that's just going to make their children feel so suffocated the rest of their life. And so the fact that your daughter's not going to hear your words, she's going to see your actions. It's the greatest gift ever.
Thank you so much, BC. Actually, like what really also really charged my energy to have this specific conversation is, obviously I started the podcast and people were listening. Then I realized that I was coming off with a bittered energy towards men. And this obviously comes from my experiences, but it's also really unfair because I have my own resentment and things that have happened that I need to heal and work on. So I started realizing I'm doing these posts and, some of them were funny or whatever, but I was like, that is so unfair to say that all men cheat or, all men do this, all men do this. I would hate if someone said all women do this. I hate those kinds of posts. So kind of reeled it back a little bit. And it's like, of course, the algorithm and my phone spy on me. So they started showing me more and more of your reels. But it's really important also for single moms to listen to this conversation, because I hear from my community how much we're all losing hope. And it's not good. I'm telling you, like, I hear it every day. And actually, one of my questions to you would be, like, I'm seeing it. I think we're becoming hyper individualized and we're going, I'm empowered. And I kind of felt in that a little bit. I'm like, I'm hyper individualized now. I make my own money. I take care of myself. I take care of my daughter. I can totally wear all these hats. And I find myself being like, I don't need to have a relationship. Maybe I should just not date. And it's going against every grain in my body, because I want connection and I want love more than anything. So I don't want to send the hyper individualized, kind of message. And I think empowerment is being connected in a healthy way. Right? What do you think?
Amen. Yeah. I mean, you already know the healing journey, peeling back those layers with that spiritual union you had with your father, and figuring out where that, has threaded throughout your relationship with God, your relationship with your dad, your relationship with men, and finding that forgiveness and grace for him, and finding some sort of path to meet his little 5-year-old self in that pain, and then transcend that pain into grace, for all of the men, and then, rewrite the story. It's basically giving people a new lens. It's giving men a new lens. It's giving your dad a new lens, wiping off that lens clear and seeing just like what stories we've created, which I know you're on that you've done it. You're on that journey.
It's hard though. I mean, it's so hard. I have to remind myself, I even have to reword the way I, narrate the story instead of saying my.
Of course. Oh my, yeah. It's a belief pattern. It's a program in the software of your human experience. And so going in to find out where the virus of the program was, founded, filling that void with God in some sense of just being like, all right, God, like clean this slate of grace, just clean this, and then just have this depth of compassion for my dad and have this depth of compassion for all men. And then men are really, I know they're out here trying. I know they keep slipping up, man. I'm some days I'm freaking confused too, and praying for the best. But it's just this complex we have with, and I don't want to sound religious to the people out here who aren't religious, but it's really God. It's this complex with God, because if God isn't our God, then money is our God, or sex is our God, or women is our God, or our partner is our God. And so really having this submission to the spirit of source, of finding that connection to the spirituality and the spiritual realm, of trying to find the spiritualness within all of it. And then kind of having this submission of like, if God's not our God, then we're our own God, right? And so finding that relationship in whatever kind of works for people is important. Yeah,
I think, and I see it. I mean, like a man who cheats thinks that they're actually gaining power or giving themselves some kind of validation, which always is short term, but really coming from trying to gain power from a place of lack is just trying to fill a void. And that's just going to be continuously a sick pattern until you go, why do I feel like I need to 2 times somebody to feel powerful? It's crazy.
Well, he cheats because he's suppressing something, or he's self-sabotaging something. And
why do men cheat, BC?
So sex is like the most incredible, like expansive, closest we get to God experience. It's so powerful. It's so profound. It's so fun. And yet we suppress it and we shame it and we judge it and we ridicule. I had a video go viral recently. I don't know if you saw it, about like when I have a crush on someone, I tell my wife, and when my wife has you see that? So that, that one's kind of been very triggering to a lot of people, but that's where cheating comes from. That it's just suppression of the human experience, the beauty we find in people, the acceptance we find within the shame of like, shame your sex drive, shame your sexual fantasies, shame your sexual energy. And in that shame, somewhere along the way, this accidental cheat happens when it really wasn't accidental. It was just enough suppression to where it blew up into this experience where every guy is like, oh my God, what I just do? Like I'll do whatever, I'll never do that again. And it was all because there was this hidden thread of shame. And so when there's fluidity in the container where nothing is shamed and everything is experienced or expressed, it's just the ultimate safety.
And do you think do you think it also comes from childhood trauma? Like having to feel like maybe commitment is so scary because the person that's supposed to love you the most was the one that hurt you the most. So they feel like they have to make an exit momentarily and give parts of themselves to someone else? Or am I getting too deep with it?
No, I mean, that it all comes down to childhood for sure. But once again, it comes down to the shame, whatever that childhood created in their sexuality, in their sexual experience. And so, a lot of it, I mean, everything has to do with our childhood in some sense. That's where we got our computer programming from. But in a man becoming a man, he needs to feel safe in every area of his expansion, of his conversations. And so when women are like, were you checking out that girl, or walking on eggshells of like, if a girl texts you, or if you are checking out a girl, like there's so much walking on eggshells, which we just don't feel safe in anything. And so then we sabotage we sabotage it out of fear of like, man, if she doesn't accept me for my sexuality, if she doesn't accept me for my fantasies, if she doesn't accept me for my love for women or whatever, then she doesn't accept me for me. And she's accepting most likely the character I've built. And so men start their healing journeys when they lose a woman they could have had forever. So that's when I would say 80 to 90% of the men that start their healing journeys literally lost a woman that they worked their whole life to get. And then they stopped trying. They stopped reading between the lines. She said, please read this book. Please go to therapy. Please go to this seminar. Please go to this retreat. And they're just like, I already kind of have the woman. I don't think I need to put that much effort in. And then one day the feminine checks out. And when she checks out, she's officially checked out. It took years for her to check out, but she did. And then the man goes to his knees, hopefully finds God in the worst pain ever. And he's like, oh, fuck, I just lost this woman that literally like I worked so hard to get, and now I'll do anything. I'll read the book. I'll go to the seminar. And, she more than not doesn't come back because of what she's been through, but that's usually when a man starts his healing journey.
Did any of this, were you ever that man who kind of succumbed to those sins?
Losing a woman?
Yeah, for maybe cheating or being dishonest or...
Yeah, I mean, my Saturn return, 27, 28 years old. Yeah, lost. I was in LA too. Lost someone that I thought was my person forever, and worst pain you can fathom in the entire. I don't know if you've ever lost like that person, but just the worst depths of pain, and blocked each other. So I had to sit with that pain, and grieve, and just cry, and just go, oh my God, like I couldn't get my shit together in time, and so you play the game of what if this, and and in that pain you find a little bit of light to just continue on.
If there's I'm hoping for lots of men to tune in and listen to this. If there is a man that relates to old version of you, version 1.0, right? And he's not lost her yet, but he's in the process, or he feels like he's losing her slowly. What kind of mentor does he need right now?
One that's going to be really honest with him, and he just needs to be honest with them. The strongest character of a man, of any masculine man, is honesty. If he can be honest, even if the honesty he needs to tell his wife or his queen or his partner is really uncomfortable, that's all she asks for. She craves honesty, and men are terrified to be honest. Even if it's like, man, I saw this, I mean, this is kind of different, but it's like, man, I saw this girl the other night, and I like literally thought about what it would be like to make out with her. Like that's, like most women would be triggered by that, but like being able to be that radically honest with my partner, that's like a small example. But it's basically just radical honesty creates radical safety, which creates radical transparency. And then you just feel like you're safe, and there's no longer this walking on eggshells. But yeah, they need to find a coach or a mentor or a men's group that invites honesty and radical transparency.
Wow, you're amazing.
Thanks. I mean, yeah, I always give my glory to God, just because I've prayed so much, and every time I get triggered by politics, every time I get triggered by wars and genocides, like every time I get triggered by really heavy things, I pray, and I'm like, God, what's the spiritual significance, and what can I do? And I really am always trying to like just pray as much as possible. And once you realize that our souls came here, and you have this awareness of like, oh, wait a second, I chose my parents. I chose this thorn in my side. I chose this cross that I'm bearing. Like, this is my crucifixion. Like, this is my own death of myself, and how we transcend into our Christ consciousness, this Jesus-like way of not only forgiving our enemies, but loving them and washing our enemies' feet. Like, this is the path of what Christ was trying to like lead us towards. And religion obviously has taken that way for a different direction. But yeah, it's been a journey.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
So are there any like childhood wounds that you're still working on?
Wow, it's such a good question. I mean, I'm always working on confidence and worthiness. Obviously, like, it's a dance between, like, I crave for people to have confidence. I crave for people to feel confident in their voice, confident in their human experience. I help people with building their social medias and speaking on camera, and I just love when people are confident. But in my own human experience, I have imposter syndrome. I have, moments of like, I was ADD, I was dyslexic, I failed all my classes, I was, so yeah, there's moments where I level up in certain scenarios, and I just don't feel like I'm, the human experience is real. Even when I've said no to 2 at Tedx talks before saying yes to the Switzerland one. And even when I said just the same thing, some days I'm like, what is my message? What am I even talking about? What am I doing? Do I even, and so yeah, the little I don't know if it's BC's little boy, but it's what he heard when he was young of like, BC, you need to get hailed back a grade. BC, you failed your classes. Like that voice in our head never goes away. We just learn to befriend it. And so we try to bury the voice. We fight it with like muscle, success, money, women. And the voice is still running around the heart of our home and just like being like, you suck, you're not pretty, you're not worthy. And so the voice at one point, you don't try to put it underwater. You just start to befriend it and listen to it. And so when I have the conversations of like, BC, you can't speak on a stage in front of 2,000 women. Like, this is, whatever. And so I'm like, but what if God wants to, like what if God uses my voice for something bigger? And that's kind of what I try to lead with now. But yeah, the voice never goes away. And then raising two boys, I'm learning how to raise them with their own emotional intelligence and, learning how to raise them so they can learn how to regulate. And if they trigger me, I'm like, oh, I got to take a breath. I got to go, go outside and breathe and walk. And yeah. And oh man, it's hard. It's the hardest thing in the entire world. And then trying to figure out how to do it with the capitalism that we live on, like, more money, more followers, more success. And right now I'm just learning that, like, I'm praying for community. I'm praying for co-living. I'm praying for like why are we on our own islands trying to survive when it's like, wait, we have resources. We have access to people and to support. And so I think the prayer that I'm praying most now is like, let's just continue to find our soul tribe and then figure out how we can help all of us rise in a world that is, trying us. We're all on our separate islands struggling. And it's like, it's crazy.
And maybe we're hyper focused on, and when you mention God, and this is something so beautiful, because some people, yes, might not be religious, but I think there's something so beautiful in not just focusing on finding romantic love, but also finding love, obviously for yourself, but love around you as well. Like friendships, it's so hard to make friends now. It's so hard to find your tribe now. It's like we're more isolated than ever. We're supposed to be more connected than ever. But finding a friend as an adult has seemingly become an impossible mission. And people just revert to being isolated and on their own. And there's something about love. We're constantly being, oh, I'm single for too long. Also, let's focus on, before fixing that or working on that or whatever that is, maybe finding love elsewhere, like love for God and love.
Let's go.
Then it'll catapult true love into your life.
I 100%, that's something I've been saying recently, is we spend 80%, I believe, this is my own personal opinion, we spend 80% of our energy relationally on dating apps and dating and 20% on friendships. And if we flipped that around and spent 80% on community building, on going to retreats, on building friendships, then naturally we find our lover through our communities, through friendships. And Issa and I were friends for over a year because of that. She had a boyfriend when I met her, and I was like, oh, awesome. This is actually kind of helpful because then, but like, yeah, just really trying to re-script the Disney princess romantic love is going to solve all my problems, and into like, if community is everything, like it's truly the secret. It's the secret sauce to all of it, like finding your people. And something I always say is like, the worst financial investment anyone can ever make is dating the wrong person. And sure, you can be optimistic and say, oh, I learned a lot. But the time, the money, the energy that goes into dating the wrong person, the time you'll never get back. Those 2 years, whatever it is. The money obviously comes and goes. The energy, you can be, you can get your energy back too. But so I'm always saying, like, if dating the wrong person is the worst financial investment you can make, the greatest financial investment you can make is working on yourself, going to the seminars, coaching, whatever, communities. Like, spend so much of your dating money into bettering yourself and in learning more about yourself. And then naturally you won't waste time or money or energy with the wrong person. And have to regret, like, oh man, and obviously in hindsight, everyone always is like, well, I learned so much about myself. I'm sure you did. And if you could have those 2 years back, I'm sure you would, So yeah, what you said is exactly it. We just trying to find our soul tribe. And
Beautifully said. You mentioned your adorable little sons. They're so cute. Yeah. I love them. It's so sweet. And what touched me was the video of what's the oldest? What's his name?
Phoenix.
The eldest Phoenix. He was walking towards the ocean and how his shoulders dropped. And I was like, oh my God. I don't know if it was you or Isa who posted it, but it was just magical. It was so beautiful. So I wrote this last question for you. And
Okay.
given your deep involvement in mentorship and all the amazing impact that you've had on so many people, I'm curious how you are instilling in your sons the kind of discipline, responsibility, and moral framework that's necessary to grow them into men who can confront chaos, but also bring order to it.
That's such a good question. So I guess in a nutshell, how am I helping?
How are you instilling discipline in them, and how are you helping them grow into the men that you want them to be? With all the knowledge that you have now, and obviously like we are preparing our kids for as much as possible for what we know, but we also do have no idea what their world is going to be like, which is the most difficult thing as a parent now, because we try our best with what we know now, which is exactly what happened with our parents, which brings in the forgiveness that you talked about earlier. It's like you never know what their world was like, and now we don't know what their world's going to be like in the future. So I'm curious, and especially that you have 2 boys. And with the story of, when you lost your father, that really hit me hard as well. How have you constructed some kind of, framework, or how do you go about protecting these boys and knowing that, you've equipped them?
Oh yeah, this is the portal for sure. This is the initiation. The greatest gift I can give my boys is loving my wife well, like loving Isa well, teaching them how to love the feminine, teaching them how to support the feminine is kind of it. That's like whether it's the feminine in Mother Nature, whether it's Isa, that's it. That's the greatest gift I can give them, is helping her nervous system be at a place of relax and rest, and how they see me show up to her is going to teach them something about their own feminine energy, their own softness, their own emotions. And that's the goal. That's the hope.
I didn't expect that answer, I did not expect that answer. Like, you would think like the textbook of it, I don't know. It's just, that's so amazing. That's so amazing, because they're going to see how you treat women, and then they will learn, and they will also be in touch with the feminine side, because they'll see that from their mother, who's going to be in touch with it even more, because she'll feel so safe with you.
Yeah, that's the goal. Safety. Yeah. The goal is safety. The kids get bullied at school. The kids get bullied for what they wear. And if they can feel safe to cry, safe to run to their mom, safe to run to me. And, that's the goal, as long as they feel safe. And humor is a big target. Like playing is a big thing too. Like showing them how to play, showing them how to laugh, showing them how to, feel it all. And, yeah, it's just it's a dance, but it's difficult. They stretch you. And that's why I always pray people do as much work as possible before having kids, because your kids will bring to surface whatever you've suppressed, whatever you've hidden. Your kids are going to expose it, and your partner's going to expose it first, hopefully. And if you don't alchemize those shadow sides of yourself before kids, then your kids are going to expose it. But when they expose it, they're going to receive the shadow before you heal it. And so yeah, the goal is to be fully exposed pre-kids as much as possible, but it's still difficult some days. And
how old are they, by the way?
Koa is about to be 2, and Phoenix just turned 3. It's crazy. They're like so close in age. And
that's so close in age.
Yeah, I would never wish it upon anyone. They're both like, it's like I like that close in age. Like the first one has to be potty trained and be able to speak before the second one, just because it'll help your life so much more. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been crazy.
I met a mom that has 5, and I was like, wow, oh my God, I can't even imagine. And she said to me that 5 felt like 2. Like when she had 2, it was just as hard as it is now with 5. And I was like, the math is not mathing. What?
Yeah.
But she's like, 2 is just like the hardest. So
yeah, I heard that too. Like you get to 3 or 4 or 5, and it just you become in this state. You just kind of know the ebbs and flows of it, and it just becomes hilarious. But yeah, 2 is a different beast.
Kids are amazing though. They really do reflect back some crazy things, and then they get to this age with Callie is 4, and she just repeats things that I'm like, first of all, were you eavesdropping? Where were you when I got my hair, I talked about this. I got my hair colored, right? And I was like, oh man, I don't like it. It's too light. And I had never heard this child say freaking anything bad about her hair. And she stood in front of the mirror and she was like, I don't like my hair. I was like, no, like slow motion, no.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, how easy it is for her to pick up this stuff. And that's why, like, I remember my mom saying, oh, I look so fat, and she always criticized her body. And all I did was just kind of comfort her at the time. But then now it's like, I find it so hard to just look in the mirror and just not be critical. And it literally starts from then. So it's, we have a big job.
Yeah, if you don't have, and I say this to lots of parents, if you don't have this self-love, like you can tell your daughter she's beautiful a million times, but if you look in the mirror and say anything bad about you, that's how she's going to learn. She's going to learn how you treat yourself, and so it all comes down to how we live, more than what we say, and it's a role. It's so exciting to live in a time right now because we are understanding triggers and traumas, and we're doing our best with our kids. Sometimes we drop the ball, sometimes we make mistakes, but we're aware and we're forgiving, and yeah.
Wow, I love talking to you. Seriously, I'm so grateful for your presence. I'm really curious, what's North Carolina like? Because I gotta say, sometimes I think I would love to go back to the States. It always felt like my home. And then I think, I don't wanna go back to LA, that's for sure. But I do love California, but then again, it's just so expensive. So I don't know, what's North Carolina like?
We love it. We just got really lucky with our community here, and we just have a really cool, beautiful group of people that we get to kind of just do life together. So right now it's beautiful. Obviously, there's like waterfalls and nature everywhere. So we enjoy that aspect. But right now we're in this season of, just, I don't want to say survival, but just one day at a time with the little one. Koa is our little 1-year-old, man. He is a trip. He just is nonstop. So we're just kind of going through, the season and chapter of life. We're something I haven't shared this publicly yet, but I guess we could do it on this podcast. So about 8 years ago, I did something. Do you have enough time?
Yes, go for it, of course.
Okay, cool. So I don't know how far you researched me, but about 8 or 9 years ago, I did something called the Traveling Good, and I got an RV and I went around the U.S. and through parties with a purpose, where we like raised money for charities in over 25 cities, and through these dance parties, and it was like random acts of kindness. So Isa is DJing, and she loves DJing. She's DJed Daybreaker a bunch and DJing out here. So we were like, what if we get another RV and do a tour around the U.S. and bring this like party with a purpose, vibe back to so I don't know. We're like brainstorming some ideas about potentially doing that.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I bet the kids might love it. Like they'll definitely love it. But I think they might, they'll have a place to have their energy. Would you take the kids, or of course you have to take them?
Yeah, I think so. I think we would. And yeah, so I don't know. We're trying to figure out what this next season, we're just like I said, we're trying to get to Lebanon in July or August to see her family. And so we're going to be in Europe. We're thinking about Dubai. I don't know. Every time I meet someone dope, they live in Dubai. And so it seems like you guys have a good community there, right?
Yeah. I gotta say, Dubai, as far as the most important thing about Dubai, I gotta tell you, with kids, it makes life so much easier because labor is so cheap. Like I actually can have a live-in nanny for $700 a month, and that's me paying her twice as much as anyone else would pay her. So honestly, like that's like for parents who live here, I'm telling you, that's the number one reason. For creators, I think it's a little bit discombobulated. Nothing's like LA. So I think my standards are a little high. When it comes to creation and everything, LA was just top, of course, you can find your communities. There's definitely mindful communities. It's not, you got to really do some work. Like I've been here 3 years and I've still not found like, that perfect, not perfect, but like that community is very like-minded, if that makes sense. So they're there.
Is Callie's dad there? That's why you're there?
No, I'm here because when we were still together, I was hating the UK. The UK was awful. Even British people will tell you, yeah, no problem. We're not offended whatsoever. We know it's shit. So our compromise when we were still together was for us to move here because it was just a suggestion. I wanted to go back to LA. So then we broke up. So then I've just still been here. He still believes I gotta work, and it's like, you have money, you have everything.
How old is he?
He's 34. He's like 20 days younger than me. And
wow.
I'm kind of hoping with him, with like that part where you said about like, you know, the woman leaves and hopefully the man goes and tries to find himself, but he's got so many layers and he's just very blocked. He's not even looking into that. He's still in victim mode. And part of me kind of like is resentful of that, because I've tried so hard, like couples therapy books, retreats. I've tried to throw everything at him. Unfortunately, he's not seeing it. But anyway, so I've just still been here. But now that Callie's a little bit older and I'm not going to need a full-time nanny soon, I do think maybe I should go somewhere. But with young kids, yeah, it's just great. And then with business, there's no tax. Like no one even asks, you know, like you just keep your money in the bank and just so
crazy. But you have an American passport?
I have an American passport, yeah.
Wow. So does Callie?
Wow. She has American and British, yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, we'll have to come to Dubai. We have some cool community there, and we'll have to come there before Lebanon. Do you go to Lebanon ever again?
I never go, to be honest, because I don't have like, this is kind of sad, but I have like zero family. Like literally, I don't have cousins, brothers, sisters. I never really met my grandparents. I take care of my mom, she has like a form of schizophrenia, so I take care of her, but like any contact that's prolonged is quite hectic. But I do my best. I pay her rent. I moved her to LA. She was just living in like a really crappy place in Lebanon, so she lives there now. She loves it. But yeah, so I don't really have anyone to see in Lebanon. You know, like I wouldn't really go. I would obviously go if I had family, but it doesn't make sense. But yeah, when you have Issa's family there, that's beautiful, because the experience of being around a Lebanese family, having that home cooked food, just the smell of olive trees, and just the best.
I know. Yeah. Well, hopefully we can see you when we're going to Europe, and then we're talking about going to Dubai, but right before Lebanon. So that'd be cool. But yeah, we'll keep you posted on that. That'd be amazing. Thanks so much, and honored for everyone listening on this and your viewers. And is it cool if I say a prayer real quick for everyone that's listening? All right, cool. Just take like one deep breath, everyone that listens. Just surrender and relax. And God, thank you for the person that is tuning in to better their life and deeper their connection to the human experience, to their soul, to their purpose, asking questions on how they can become a better partner, a better parent, a better lover, a better leader, and just to honor that the seeds that they're planting right now and listening to this podcast is an investment that they're making into their purpose, into their family, into their life. And so I pray that the water is nourishing the seed and the soil, and that it produces fruit, that the next time they get in a fight with their partner or get triggered by their kids or hang out with their mom or dad, that they find this softness within their bodies to just love them where they're at and love themselves where they're at, so they can bring love into any scenario and situation and feel a little bit lighter as they walk through this human experience. So God, bless their efforts, bless their dedication to this human experience, bless their life, bless their finances and their families and their health, and just honor them for taking an hour out of their time of their day to deepen their experience and their awareness to their life and to their love and whatever blocks their love. And so it is. Amen.
BC, thank you so much, not just for being here today, but for showing up in the world the way you do, honestly, with your heart wide open, and your pain is integrated into purpose, and your constant willingness to walk with others and be with them through their healing. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much for your presence today. I'm so grateful for this conversation. It's easy to talk about change, but you have showed us how to embody it. I'm really grateful for your content. It reminds us that leadership doesn't always have to look loud. It often actually looks like stillness and listening and brotherhood and choosing love over ego, especially when it's the hardest. And Callie's here now, but I'm wrapping up this episode now. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys, there we go. Hi. Here we go, Callie. I'm filming. Come. You want to sit? I'm just doing something to the camera. Come. Come, you can sit. Hello? Okay. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you enjoyed this episode and you like the content that I'm putting out, I would really love your support if you liked and subscribed for this channel, because it would give me the chance to even get more and more amazing guests just like BC, and we can get more content out for you that you're going to love for season 5. So thank you so much for showing love and support. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week. Hi. How was your day?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
You played with your friends?
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me time to film the episode. You like seeing yourself on the camera?
Yeah. Bleh.
I love you.
Oh. What are you doing?
What did you talk about with your friends? Come. Tell me. Oh, you're gone now? I'm going to do one more to camera. Can you close the door? Thank you. Watch your hand. If you do like this episode and you're enjoying the content on this channel, please do show some support, like and subscribe to my channel. This is a very much a new podcast, and I'm really trying to spread some amazing messages with my mission. So I would really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. I will see you guys next week.